Namaste, everyone. I am a mini mathematics teacher in Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan's Vidya Mandir, Puchatti, Thrissur. Welcome you all to the panel discussion organized by Confederation of Kerala Sahodaya Complexes, an umbrella organization for all the Sahodaya complexes of Kerala committed to handhold CBSE schools in Kerala. Confederation through its academic and training wing has been instrumental in bringing professionalism in our fraternity. This panel discussion is designed to empower the teachers of CBSE affiliated schools who train students from the CBSE Term 2 examination for classes 10 and 12. As all of us are aware, CBSE has made some fundamental changes in the question paper pattern, which would be analyzing in detail in the next 32 or 40 minutes. For the discussion with me in our panel, Mrs. Mini S. Nair, HOD of Mathematics, Bhavan's Vidya Mandir, Elamakara, Ernakulam, Mrs. Jyoti P., mathematics teacher from Chinmaya Vidyalaya, Kolari, Thrissur. Mrs. Smita T., who is working as a mathematics teacher in Al Amin Public School, Sri Moolanagaram, Aluva. I welcome you all to this panel discussion. From this year onwards, other than standard mathematics code 041, applied mathematics also has been introduced. First, we discuss about standard mathematics 041. Before we proceed to the discussion, I would like to give you all an idea about the chapter-wise weightage and the pattern of the question paper. All of you must have gone through the CBSE sample paper. That is a discussion on CBSE sample paper mathematics class 12. Now, chapter-wise weightage from integrals in sample paper, 9 marks questions are given. Application of integrals 4. Differential equations 5. That means from calculus 18 marks. Vectors 5, 3D 9. So from these two chapters together, 14 marks. Probability 8, then a theory total 40. We know that internal assessment is there in term 2 also. So altogether 50 marks. Now I would like to give you some important points that can be noted from CBSE sample paper. Question paper contains 3 sections, A, B and C. Total number of questions 14. Section A has 6 short answer type questions of 2 marks each. Section B has 4 short answer type questions of 3 marks each. Section C has 4 long answer type questions of 4 marks each. In section A, 1 choice question, and section B, 2 choice questions, and in section C, 1 choice questions are given. Question number 14 is a case-based problem having 2 subparts of 2 marks each, which is a compulsory question. Now, let us discuss the sample paper in detail. First of all, Mini Ma'am, what is your opinion about term 2 sample question paper released by CBSE recently? Has the question paper been prepared according to the specified weightage which was given by CBSE earlier? Is it a student friendly paper, ma'am? Can you
Yes.
give a rough idea about the sample paper, ma'am?
Okay, namaste and thank you, ma'am. I felt the sample paper released by CBSE is quite simple. That is, weightage is exactly same as it is given by CBSE. Nearly 60 to 70% of the questions are very easy and direct. For example, some questions from the three-dimensional geometry. See, they are asked to find the shortest distance between two parallel lines. The formula they have already learned. And in the 13th question, they must find the foot of the perpendicular. And the choice question is quite easy. That is, they have to find the equation of the plane. So any student can solve these type of questions because they're very simple and usually asking questions. Same in the case of calculus and other lessons. In short, children should learn frequently asking questions with the other type of questions. As per the question paper, the students should learn their NCRT textbook thoroughly. The practice of extra questions is a must, especially chapters like vectors, calculus, etc. Madam, as you said, out of 14 questions, the question paper, there are enough choices. Each section, we are getting choices from each section. In section A, one question, section B, two questions, and in section C, one question have choices. When I analyzed the sample question paper of CBSE published for the academic year 2021-22 for the senior secondary is of course a student-friendly question paper. I hope the forthcoming Class 12 Term 2 board examination question paper will also be a student-friendly like the sample paper. Thank you.
We hope for the best. It
Yeah.
is a student-friendly paper, and 60 to 70 percentage of marks can be scored easily. Very good. Actually, calculus is a very important section in class 12 mathematics. Continuity and differentiability and application of differentiation were included in term 1, and integrals, application of integrals and differential equations are included in this term 2. Since calculus is divided like this, I think students are benefited a lot. But the chapters, integrals and its application are not that much easy as far as children are concerned. In sample paper, question number 1 is from integrals. It is actually a choice question. In section B, question number 7, and in section C, question number 11 are also from integrals. Smita ma'am, please express your opinion about these questions. What type of questions are asked, and how children can prepare questions from these two chapters? Or first of all, we discuss chapter integrals.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Actually, calculus part seems to be difficult for the children when compared to the other chapters. So they should give more importance to this chapter and practice more questions. Integration of by parts, partial fractions, special integration, etc. should be learned thoroughly. That is, questions of all types should be learned. Now let's go take the first question from the sample question paper. It is similar to the miscellaneous problems from the NCRT textbook. So it is clear that the students should learn the miscellaneous type of questions also. The OR question becomes easier after substitution. So if the substitution part is clear, then that question is quite simple. The question number 7 is a direct question from partial fractions. So they can attempt it very easily. It is a direct question. Then moving on to question number 11, it is a question from definite integrals of modulus function. Here the student should be clear about the factorization and splitting of the integrals, etc. That is, they have to learn the properties thoroughly. If the formulas and concepts are clear, then they will be able to attend these questions very easily. Minimum.
We can tell the children that all the formulas and different types of integrals and properties of definite integrals are very important. They must practice a lot of questions. Then only they will be familiar to the questions when they get question paper. that 15 minutes they can use effectively.
Yes.
Smita ma'am, actually, application of integrals is more easier than integrals because identifying the required area, that part is a little confusing. But after identifying the required area, integration part is simple. In sample question paper, question number 12 is from application of integrals. How can we teachers help the children for the preparation of application of integrals as per CBSE sample paper?
As you said, Miniman, the chapter application of integrals seems to be some more easier when compared to the chapter integrals. The main idea they should get is how to find the area, required area. That is, by integrating the function between the ordinates, they are finding the area bounded by the curve, x-axis and the ordinate. If the students have this concept, then they can find the answer very fast. Here in the sample question paper, the question from application of integral is a choice question. The first question is to find the area bounded by the right-handed parabola, a simple straight line, and the x-axis in the first quadrant. So they need to find the intersecting point and find the area accordingly. It is actually a direct question from that chapter. There are many questions of the same type in the NCERT textbook. Or
Sorry,
question is somewhat similar to the question number 4 of worked out example from NCERT text. Here the only problem is that the question is given as an inequation. The students should identify that it is an equation of a straight line passing through the origin. Then it becomes easier for them.
That means concept formation is required there. By integrating a curve, we get area below the curve, above the x-axis between two ordinates, say at x equal to a and x equal to b, we can say. That means we must say that if you are thorough with the concept, then you will be able to do any type of questions.
Yes, ma'am,
I,
exactly.
learn everything from the textbook. That is very
yes.
important.
Yes,
Textbook.
yes, exactly.
Uh, almost all the questions are taken from textbook.
Yeah.
Little bit, somewhere it is tested. That is the only thing. So if you are thorough with the concept, then all the questions they will be able to answer. They will be able to do. I think if you are thorough with the integrals, you will be more comfortable with questions from differential equations. In sample paper, question numbers 2 and 8 are from differential equations. Question number 2 is simple but a tricky one, isn't it, Minimum?
Sure, it is a tricky question because actually, when you see the question, we feel it is a simple question, but they have asked d by dx of dy by dx. That is the LHS of that question. So the children they have to get d by dx of dy by dx is d square y by dx square. That is the second order derivative. That is one thing, and another thing is they very easily they can find the order and degree of the differential equation, but the question is find the sum of the order and degree. So there is a chance of forgetting to find the sum. So children should be a bit careful.
Question number,
Yes, right, ma'am.
yes, that is there. Question number 8, it is a choice question. One is from homogeneous differential equation, which can be identified easily because it contains one term sine of y by x. And our question is from linear differential equation, which is in the standard form itself. Dy by dx plus y cot x is equal to 2 by 1 plus sine x. This is of the form dy by dx plus py is equal to q. Smita ma'am, would you say more about these two questions?
Yes, ma'am. As you said, here we have a choice question from this part. The first question, y by x is directly given in the question, which helps the student to understand and identify which type of differential equation it is. And they have to learn only that type from that part. So it becomes easier for them. In the same way, the OR question is also a direct question from linear differential equation given in the standard form, which they can solve easily. The remaining types are deleted. So I think, ma'am, they can solve these questions very easily. There is no question of confusion since they need to learn only one type.
So
Uh,
deletions avoid confusion, I think.
Yes, yes, yes.
Solve the confusion there in that chapter.
Yeah.
okay, yes. Next, we move to vectors. Questions from vectors may not be asked directly, right? Uh, I, I think board nowadays insist teachers that we have to follow competency-based teaching. We teachers have a great responsibility to prepare our children to face all type of challenges in life. I used to tell my students that if you are interested in mathematics, your life will be very happy because in life they have to face different situations and challenges like problems in mathematics. We can make them capable of analyzing the questions and good at decision making. This ability can be improved by giving hot level questions in class as well as for exams. For example, question number 3 and 9 from vectors. Both the questions are not taken from textbooks. They have to think a little bit. Jodi ma'am, what we can say about these questions from vectors?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mean Man. What you said is exactly right. We should train our children to learn extra questions, and competency based learning should be done. That is what we see here in vectors. What we notice here in the sample paper is actually in the previous year question papers, if we look into, we see the direct questions from the chapter vectors. But this year what we notice here, both the questions are of the type show that. So the children find it a little bit difficult in the sense that from where to begin to prove this particular statement, because there are many methods to prove something, either starting from left hand side and reaching to the right hand side, or we have to start from a particular result. So that part a little bit, it can be difficult, in not like the usual ones which we see in the previous year papers. So in that way, children should learn extra questions other than the usual ones, which is projection of a vector on another vector, or area of a parallelogram, or finding angle between two vectors, which are the usual ones which we see in the question paper. So other than that, they should be learning the proof type questions also. That means we should concentrate that part also. Extra questions also should be worked out other than the usual ones from the chapters. Usually the vectors chapter is easy actually, but we see here is they should be concentrating on these type of questions also, isn't
Yeah.
it?
That means we have to instruct our children to practice
Yes,
extra
right.
problems, especially from vectors.
Yes,
Ma'am,
right.
rather than vectors, questions from 3D are familiar to children. Even though foot of the perpendicular question is not in the textbook, it is familiar to them because it is a repeated board question. Please go through question numbers 4, 10, and 13 in sample papers with Jyoti ma'am.
It is what we see here is 3D. Usually, we used to concentrate more on 3D, the chapter 3D. And if the chapter 3D is thorough, the chapter vector becomes easier. But this time, what we see here is 3D is comparatively, the questions are easier than the chapter vectors, what they have asked this time in the sample paper. The first question in the 3D, that is finding direction cosines of a line, is a very direct question. But there also, they should concentrate on the equation of the line, which is not given in the standard form. That means the cool of time they can use for this kind of reading, or they should be reading thoroughly with the question, and they should identify that it is not in the standard form, and bringing down it to the standard form and then proceeding to the answer will lead them to the right answer. Otherwise, everything will go wrong, even though the question is very much direct. And question the next question where you find the shortest distance, that is also a direct question, very direct question. But there also, this time what we see in the sample paper, it is the shortest distance between two parallel lines, not the skew lines. So there also the children should read the question properly, and they should understand that the lines given are parallel lines, and they should use the formula for distance between two parallel lines. Otherwise, it is a very much direct question. And the choice part, children, most of the children will be preferring to do the shortest distance, because it's only substituting the formula and finding out the answer, the other than the other question, which is a mixture of line and plane. So most of them will be choosing this kind of question, which is very direct. That is what we also instruct them. If it is a direct question, go for that other than the other one. And the third question, which is foot of the perpendicular, which is very frequent question. If you notice in the previous year question papers, you can see that most of the time they have asked this foot of the perpendicular, distance between the point and that line or plane, or the image of a point, which was a very common question in previous years papers. So this question may not be so much making them, putting them into difficulty, because if they have worked out the previous year board papers, it will be a very familiar question to them. In that way, 3D, comparatively 3D is easier. That is what we find in this chapter, this sample paper, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Frequently asking
As
questions. Frequently asking
as
questions.
yes, as you said, questions are familiar to children, but they have to approach both the questions with full concentration.
Yes,
In
yes, right, ma'am.
question number
That is,
4, equation of
yes.
line is not given in the standard form, and in question number 10, to find the shortest distance between two lines, it is not mentioned in the question that the given lines are parallel lines. A lot of
Yes,
practice, and they have to identify the vectors parallel to the lines. They are parallel, they are collinear.
yes, yes,
Only then they'll understand that the two lines are parallel. A lot of practice is required from these two chapters, or
yes,
that they
yes.
have to read the questions carefully.
Proper. Yes, yes,
So
yes.
that's also very
Yes.
important. Now we move to probability. From a probability also, thought-provoking type of questions are asked. What can we say about question number 5? Question number 5 is a probability distribution question. Smita ma'am, your opinion about that question?
Yes, ma'am. Question number 5 is a question from probability distribution of random variables. If a question of random variable is asked, first the student have to define the random variable and get the values that the random variable can take. Actually, in a question of drawing two balls successively without replacement, the random variable can take values 0, 1 or 2. But in this particular question, there is only one red ball. And so if the random variable is defined as getting a red ball, it can take values only 0 and 1.
Yes,
So,
exactly, exactly.
so the student should be very careful while reading this type of questions. Read and analyze the question carefully so that they can read the answers correctly.
Question number 6 also. That is also a tricky one, isn't it, Mini ma'am?
Yes, of course. Question number 6 of probability is a tricky question. I do agree. In that question, the problem is the students, they have to consider the two cases. That is, in case 1, they have to consider the first card, red jack, and the second card, jack. So first one, red jack, means it is there are only 2 red jacks and they have to take one from there. So 2 by 52 is the probability. And second card, jack, already taken one red jack card, so there are only 3 remaining. 3 by 51 is the probability there. So when they multiply, they are getting the answer of case 1. Then they have to consider case 2 also, that is probability of first red non jack card they have to take. That is, when you omit those 2 red jack cards, there are 25 red cards. You have to take one from there. That is 24 by 52. And the second card is a jack. We have not taken any jack card. The probability is 4 by 51. So when you multiply, you are getting the second case. You have to add the first case, the probability you are getting in the first case and the second case. That is a required probability. Of course, both the questions of probability are tricky ones, I can say that. But the thing is, the children, they have to read. They have to use the reading time properly. And they have to understand the question.
Actually, we
This
can say
question actually, in the first look, it seems very simple.
Very
This
simple, but it is tricky.
yes,
But it is
yes, yes.
tricky. That is the problem.
that
At
means
least they have given the wordings that it is without replacement. At least that much doubt is clarified in both the questions.
That is true. That is true. Without replacement, so there is no question of whether it is with replacement or
Replacement or
without
without it
replacement.
should be taken or not. At least
Yes, of
that
course,
much
of course.
doubt is clarified there in both the
Ah,
questions.
true.
that means from probability, you may get questions which are to be analyzed word by word to consider different possibilities and reach out into the solution. In the sample paper, have you noticed, teachers, that the case-based question is from probability? Jyoti ma'am, what do you say about case-based question in probability?
It's a easy question actually, and also we could expect the case base. Most of the time, it would be from the chapter probability only. That is what we expect. And Bayes theorem is the question which we tell our children that you should be practicing it. It is one of the surest question in the question paper. Every year we find a question of Bayes theorem, and this question actually it is situation based, so it is, I think children could analyze it that it is a Bayes theorem question only when they come to the subpart 1. If they are not much concentrated on theorem on total probability, they might get a little bit confused in subpart 1. That is what is to be found there in that subpart. But once it is analyzed, then it becomes very easy. The second part is the Bayes theorem, and the calculation becomes easier because the denominator is already calculated in the part 1 subpart. So the simplification of the formula becomes easier in that way. So what we find, it's not a difficult question. If they analyze it properly, it doesn't seem much difficult. They could do it.
Usually, we tell students that Bayes theorem is a very important section because it is a
Yes.
frequently asked question. Here, first part is total probability, and the second part is Bayes theorem. Now, I think in standard mathematics, we covered all the questions.
Yes.
As I said in the beginning, other than mathematics 041, CBSE has introduced one more paper, applied mathematics with code 241 from this year onwards. Question paper pattern is same as that of 041. Now, chapter wise weightage. We can say from calculus 9 marks, inferential statistics 5 marks, index numbers and time series 5 marks, financial mathematics 15 marks, linear programming 6 marks. Here also from theory 40, internal assessment is the 10 marks for internal assessment, and total marks 50.
Yes.
I understand that CBSE sample paper for applied mathematics is also an easy paper. About 80 to 90% questions are direct questions, minimum.
Yes, ma'am.
What can you say about the question paper as a whole?
Applied maths question paper is easier than the standard maths paper. I do agree. So when we go through the question paper, see, you can understand 35 to 40% of the questions are from financial mathematics. These applied math students, they need to study business maths more. So because of that, I think the financial mathematics topics, they have given more importance. They have given more importance to that topic. So the students should concentrate more on financial mathematics. I think so. There are questions from almost all the topics of financial maths, that is CAGR, effective rate, sinking fund, perpetuity, EMI, everything they have asked. So they should learn the formulae of all these subtopics of financial maths. And the thing is, more weightage is given to financial maths, and the questions from the other topics like time series, LPP, all they have asked direct questions. I think on the whole, the question paper is very easy.
Jyoti ma'am, what about chapters from time series in applied mathematics?
Those two questions are asked from the chapter time series. One is 2 mark and the other one is 3 marks. Both the questions are very direct ones, and the 2 mark question is very calculation part is also easier. The 3 mark question also is a very direct question, and only thing is there you have to do the calculation a little bit, and they should be very careful when they do the calculation part. Otherwise, it is a very direct question. Their children could easily score that 2 and 3 marks.
In calculus, as in standard mathematics, it contains integrals, application of integrals, and differential equation. From integrals, question number one is a choice question to find a revenue function from marginal revenue and cost function from marginal cost are asked. In short, direct integration questions are asked. There is a question number 7, to find out a producer's surplus. Here also, direct formula can be applied. In short, they must learn formulas thoroughly. Am I correct?
So, 200% correct.
Smita ma'am, LPP is there in this term for applied mathematics. What
Yes,
type of questions are asked from LP this time?
Minimum, actually, LPP is one of the simple chapters they could get. In this sample paper, there are two direct questions from LPP. One 4-mark question and one 2-mark question. The 2-mark question is question number 6. It is to find the optimal solution of an unbounded feasible region, which is a simple and direct question. Similarly, next question is a 4-mark question, that is question number 11, which is also a direct question from LPP. That is to determine the minimum product cost using graphical method. I think these two questions are quite easy.
LPP,
Scoring topics.
Yes.
LPP of
Scoring topics.
Yes, they
easy
could,
chapter
children
so
could
that they
score
can
well.
score full marks from that.
Yes,
So
exactly.
that's the time actually. One more section is the inferential statistics. Minimum, is it an easy portion?
Of course, it is an easy portion. That is see, there they have given two questions. One is the testing of hypothesis using student T distribution. They have given the direct question, and here they have asked one two-tail test. It is quite easy for the children. And the second one is finding the trend values by using the method of least squares. That is also very easy and direct. But the problem is a little bit calculation is there. So they have to be very careful about the calculation part. That is one important thing in this case. Anyway, on the whole, the question paper is very simple, I think.
Maybe
For
this is for the first time we expect an easy paper also.
Of course.
This is the first time
first
we
time
have
Yes,
introduced.
yes, yes, yes.
yes. Actually, they are getting tables, no? They will be given.
Yeah, either they'll get tables or the table will be given in their question paper.
Questions.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
more. The
Now,
second chance is more, I think.
um, now I think we cover all the questions given in sample paper for mathematics 041 and for applied mathematics 241. Now I'll outline out the important points. that are to be taken care of. First of all, I must say a well organized, systematic study is required from students.
Of course, yes.
Then we can say no choice among the chapters. All the chapters are to be learned. As a whole, question paper is student friendly, the sample question paper. Concept formation is very important, and children have to practice more extra problems, and they have to expect thought provoking questions also. That means they have to do a lot of practice and practice. That is the only way, isn't it? And
Yes,
they
of
have
course.
to utilize cool of time effectively. I think
Yes.
these are the points they have to taken care of. Now, teachers, we can wind up the session. Hope the discussion is useful to the class 12 teachers as well as students. I thank all my panel members for their commitment and wholehearted cooperation. And I take this opportunity to thank the Confederation of Kerala Sahodaya Complexes for this wonderful initiative. Thank you, and all the very best.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.